Hey, what's happening everyone? It's been a minute since I've made a video. It's been a minute since I've talked about Methane Token, my strategy, what I see in the market, and what direction Methane Token is going. So I wanted to kind of just share my 2 cents of what I think is going on and where I think things are going. So let's talk about my strategy. What am I doing? I'm always accumulating. That's always been my strategy, but with a slight change. So I have this rule that I follow now where I don't go under 10,000 Methane Token at any point in time. That's my floor. I don't go under that. And anything above that, anything excess above that 10,000, I'm using to buy loot boxes, the 8 loot boxes. That strategy is going to slightly change, and I'll talk about that soon too. But why 10,000? Why 10,000? That's a random number. I guess it's just a number that I liked, but I just wanted to make sure that I always have bullets available. So what does that mean? It means that if the BAP team releases something new that requires a huge amount of, methane token, much like the God Bulls, which required, I think, upwards of 6,000 methane token in total, I have the ability to make those quick decisions, those quick actions, without having to accumulate and throw off my own strategy. So I've got stuff in the bank and I have enough to kind of grow and then also play the game. So that's why I'm holding that kind of like bag of meth at the moment. So above that, if I have any excess, I have been playing the ape trait game where I've been opening common loot boxes, but I'm going to slightly change that strategy now, because what the BAP team has introduced is this reroll system with the loot boxes. So essentially, if you open up a loot box and you don't like what you got, you can reroll that loot box, but now the chance of getting an epic or a legendary increases and it compounds. So each time you re-roll, the chance of getting an epic or a legendary increases. So for me, that is really important because I don't have any epics or legendaries. Actually, I've got one. But as you can see, they're quite hard to get. And I've got so many different common traits. And I'm noticing that the floor for common traits is really 0.01, right? But epics can go, upwards of, I've seen some sell for, 0.2 and above. Some have gone for much, much higher. Legendaries can go for a lot more if you get the right one. So it kind of makes sense if you're trying to get the most value out of your assets, your apes and your methane token, to be holding a bit more methane token to do those re-rolls and then get those epics, get those legendaries, attach them, sell them, whatever you want to do, right? So for me, and I think a lot of other people, we've realized this, and so it makes more sense to be doing the re-rolls rather than opening up the common traits, if that's the game you're playing. So with that, obviously you're going to need a lot more methane token. That means that there's a lot more buying pressure because people are consuming it really quite quickly, and they're playing the game, which is awesome. So that's factor one as to why I think methane token is going to go up, not down. The second is around the guardrails, right? So we've seen that having an OG bull will unlock 30 it'll unlock 30 tokenized community assets. And I think what they're actually looking to do is reducing that even further. So that means that you're going to need to have more OG bulls. It means you're going to need to have more BAP assets to unlock more harvestable community assets. And I think that's a great thing for 2 reasons. One, it stops people from abusing the system, buying inactive communities that have really, really low floor prices just for the methane token and then gaming the system. But secondly, it puts more people in front of BAP, buying more BAP assets and holding them accountable and playing the game as well. Now, lastly, what I wanted to talk about was the Tokenomics Tuesday spaces yesterday, because they dropped some alpha around, the future of Methane Token and where they see that going. And it sounds like the gamification and the tokenomics is going to be geared around using Methane Token to get more assets, much like in the past where you would need 600 Methane Token to get a team, you'd need 600 to get an incubator, and then you'd need additional meth to burn a team to get a merge orb, and then you'd need to burn 14s plus a merge orb plus 4,000 Methane Token to get a God Bull. And I think they'll be reviewing those previous systems, because when we had that system in place, in particular to get a God Bull, as you can imagine, everyone needed Methane Token. They weren't generating enough. And we had a lot of fun building up to getting a God Bull, right? And so I think that particular system is going to be brought back, is my 2 cents, is what I think is going to happen. Whether it does or it doesn't, the team will have something that will drive the use of Methane Token. And I think with that, we'll see those old levels of Methane Token. Let me just remind you what the peak of sell prices for Methane Token back in the day was, 1,000 Methane Token per 0.17 Ethereum, right? So remember those levels? That was crazy times, and that's what actually lifted the price and value of the BAP assets as well. So I think that will return. We've got some external factors involved here as well, but I think in the mid to long term, Methane Token is going to be much higher, it's going to be much more sought after, and less people are going to be selling it.